Hello, friends, and welcome to this very special edition of TXN Sports World. As tonight, it is going to be all about the Bruins beat, the Rangers Roundup, and the Celtics chat. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. And gentlemen, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right on in. Apologies for the late start. Had my browser wouldn't open, so I had to do a restart. It took a little bit, but we're all good to go now. So let's dive right on in. And we started off, of course, with the Boston Bruins beat, and we thought this thing was going to last a while. We thought it was going to maybe be similar to what myself and MF had last year with the New York Rangers, but it's over in one round. It's a one and done for the Bruins beat. Boston Bruins had a 3-1 lead against the Florida Panthers in this series, and they went on to lose Game 5 in sudden death overtime thanks to a sloppy turnover that doomed the Bruins in that one. A 4-3 overtime win in game number 5, and then that was last Wednesday. This past Friday, it was Game 6 in Florida. A wild and crazy game, back and forth. The Florida Panthers won the game by a score of 7-5. I remember Bullock and I were keeping an eye on that as we were doing our SmackDown check, keeping an eye on the WWE draft as well. And Florida won the game 7-5. And then this past Sunday night on MF's birthday, it was Game 7 of the series. Florida Panthers jump out to a quick 2-0 lead. Then the Boston Bruins scored 3 times, 3 unanswered, to take a 3-2 lead. And, well, Brandon Montour, with a minute to go, tied the game at 3. And then Carter Verhaeghe at 8:35 of overtime for the Florida Panthers scores and stunned the Boston Bruins, winning 4-3 and winning the series 4-3. Sam Bennett won a puck battle behind the net and passed to Verhaeghe, who roofed a shot from the right faceoff circle past the screen Jeremy Swayman. Wow. Florida now will face the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round, and that series started tonight. And the Florida Panthers won that game as well. They're up 1-0 on Toronto, winning it 4-2. So let's run down the bullet points here. Just bear with me as I pull it up here. I mean, just absolutely an unbelievable turn of events. I mean, that record-setting curse did it again. And unfortunately, that was the case here. And, you know, it happens in the 1996 Detroit Red Wings. That team set all kinds of records. They lost in the conference finals to Colorado. 2019, the Tampa Bay Lightning set all kinds of records. They got swept in the first round by the Columbus Blue Jackets. This year, the Boston Bruins broke and shattered all of those records, and they went down in the first round. Absolutely mind-boggling what happened. Game 7, Brandon Montour, his 4th of the playoffs at 12:23, power play goal. And then in the second, it was just want to get my full notes here for this game. Okay, here we go. It's just loading up now. Okay, here we go. Brandon Montour from Lundell and Bobrovsky at 12:23, power play goal, made it 1-0 for Florida. And then Sam Reinhart from Luostarinen and Lundell at 1:14 of the second, made it 2-0 Florida. And then the Bruins get on the board. David Krejci, his first of the playoffs from Orlov and Zacha, 7:52 of the second, power play goal, cut the lead to 2-1. And then from there, I'm just waiting for this to move here. Oh, all right, I got it now. All right, it was on the side. Okay. And then in the third period, 55 seconds into the third, Tyler Bertuzzi, his fifth of the playoffs from Orlov and Krejci, tied the game at 2, power play goal. And then at 4:11 of the third, the leading goal scorer of the Boston Bruins, David Pastrnak, his fifth of the playoffs at 4:11 from Carlo and Krejci, 3-2 Boston. Bruins were a minute away from finally putting this cardiac team away, but the Panthers said not so fast. With a minute to go, Brandon Montour, his fifth of the series, second of the night, from Barkov and Verhaeghe, 19 minutes, ties the game at 3. And then at 8:35 of overtime, Carter Verhaeghe from Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk wins it for the Florida Panthers, stunning the hockey world. And with that, the Boston Bruins are going home. The Boston Bruins, a Bruins team that set a record, winning 65 games, 135 points. and this goes and happens. 36-31, the shots on goal in favor of the Boston Bruins. Face-off percentage, 57% to 43%. Bruins were 2 for 4 on the power play. Florida was 1 of 3. Panthers, 35 hits. Bruins, 34 hits. Bruins had 15 blocks. Panthers had 12. And that's all it was. Sergei Bobrovsky, 28 saves on 29 shots. Jeremy Swayman in place of Linus Ullmark, 21 saves on 24 shots. And unfortunately, the dream dies for the Boston Bruins and their fans, including Michael Bullock and all of our dear friends. I mean, nobody saw this coming. None of us had this happening. And just absolutely stunning that this all went down. I'll openly admit it. I had the Boston Bruins winning the Stanley Cup. Absolutely. But then again, I think maybe all of us did. But obviously that's not going to happen now. 3 stars of the game. David Krejci was the number 3 star for Boston. He had a goal and 2 assists. Number 2 star was Brandon Montour, 2 goals. And the number 1 star, obviously the hero, Carter Verhaeghe, a goal and an assist, and the golden goal to send the Florida Panthers to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And they have a 1-0 lead right now on the Toronto Maple Leafs. They beat the Maple Leafs in game 1 tonight, 4-2. So Florida now leads that series 1-0 on the Maple Leafs, who finally got out of the first round for the first time in 19 years after they pulled an equally bigger upset, knocking off the 3-time defending Eastern Conference champion Tampa Bay Lightning. So we're guaranteed a new Eastern Conference champion. The Seattle Kraken, they also upset the Colorado Avalanche. We're guaranteed a new Stanley Cup champion here. Of the 8 teams left, 3 of them have never won a Stanley Cup. That being Florida, Vegas, and Seattle. Florida, 1996, went to the Stanley Cup final, but got swept 4 in a row by Colorado. 2018, Vegas, in their inaugural season, made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, only to lose to the Washington Capitals. And the Seattle Kraken did not make the playoffs in their first year last year, made the playoffs this year, pulled off what I would consider the second biggest upset of the first round, knocking off the defending Stanley Cup champions in their house. Unreal. And now you got the Toronto Maple Leafs left. Their last cup win was 1967. 1967, last time the Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup. After that, it's the Edmonton Oilers. Their last cup was 1990 when they beat the Boston Bruins in 5 games. And then from there, you have the Dallas Stars, who their only cup win came in 1999 when they knocked off the upstart Buffalo Sabres in 6 games. The infamous triple overtime goal by Brett Hull. And then, of course, 2003 was the last time the New Jersey Devils won the Stanley Cup, and we'll get to them in a bit. And then 2006 for the Carolina Hurricanes when they last won the Stanley Cup. So a lot of Bruin fans thought this was going to be their first cup since 2011, but unfortunately, the dream dies in the first round. Absolutely stunning. And I don't know what else there is to say except Michael Bullock, come on in. I know you've had a couple of days to think about it, and you said that the Boston media was going to have a field day with this, and I know you religiously follow that Boston media, whereas MF and I not really that much, but Bullock, I know you follow it. I know you follow it religiously. Did they have the field day like you thought they would? I'm sure they did.
Oh yeah, they definitely did it. And as like I said, not in a good way. I don't know what else is there to say. I mean, this Bruins team was having a special season. I mean, most wins in NHL history. I mean, nobody even thought of that. And here they are. They lose in the first round. I mean, and the thing that really hurt them was all the sloppy plays, all the turnovers that they had. And that was ultimately their downfall. And we've also heard, of course, in the days after, we've heard some guys were banged up. I mean, Linus Ullmark, I heard, was banged up. Patrice Bergeron was banged up. So, then again, we can't use that as an excuse. I mean, in the playoffs, you sometimes got to fight through something like this. And like I said, it all came down to the turnovers. It freaking killed them. And yeah, I was listening to WEEI and even 98.5 the Sports Hub, and there were some who said that Jim Montgomery should be fired. First off, to you guys, do you believe what the fans say? As far as I'm concerned, Jim Montgomery should be fired. I mean, yes, it was disappointing that after everything they did, they flopped in the first round, but Jim Montgomery should not be fired. I mean, you can't fire a guy after just 1 year. Yes, it sucked the way they lost the series, but if the Bruins do that, I think it's a stupid move, and that's just them giving in to the fans and the media that called them out. So now the big question is, guys, what's next for the Bruins? I mean, Patrice Bergeron, he's going to take some time away, and then think about his future, whether he's going to come back for another season or if he's going to retire. And then David Krejci, same thing. But he gave it's 2 options. It's either coming back to the Bruins or retiring. He's not going back overseas to play hockey again. That's pretty much out the door for him. And you got some unrestricted free agents, and who knows what this team's going to look like next year. But everybody thought that this was going to be the year for them. This was their chance, and sadly, it all just comes crashing down like that. It's just so disappointing. I just don't know what else is there to say. That's pretty much all I gotta say. I don't know who I give it to next, Fleur. Do I give it to you? Do I give it to Fletch if he wants to chime in on it?
If MF wants to chime in, he's more than welcome. He definitely, we can definitely get it.
What about you, Florio? I think it's ridiculous that the fans want Jim Montgomery fired.
Agreed.
And the media too.
But the thing,
in my honest opinion, he deserves to be the winner of the Jack Adams Award for Coach of the Year. He
he
definitely
probably will be. No, there's
he
no
deserves
doubt
that.
he will.
But
He
then
will be the
again,
winner.
but then again, you can also make an argument for the head coach of the Seattle Kraken. I mean, you could also make an argument for him to be that Jack Adams Award winner too. But
But if you
but
really
before I
think
give it to
about
MF, before I give it to MF, I'll say it like this. And MF, you know this. Bullock, you don't. I said it in our lengthy messenger chat as this happened about 48 or so hours ago. I actually used to be a Boston Bruins fan. MF, you know that. We used to have a playful banter back in the day. You know,
I think you actually told me this before, Florio. You told me you used to be a Bruins fan before
yes,
jumping
before
ship to the Rangers.
Yes. When I grew up, I was a Boston Bruin fan. MF and I, we had some playful banter. I mean, especially around that 94 season. That was the year where the Rangers were, the best team out there. And I used to say, oh, my Bruins could beat your Rangers any day. And I was like, yeah, right. And I think he would have been right in that case if they had squared off in that playoff year, but they didn't. But MF, I'll say it like this before I give it to you. I'll say what I said in our messenger chat. If I had still been a Bruin fan after all these years, and I had not jumped ship to the Rangers with MF, I would have been too sad to be mad. I would have been gutted. I mean, and MF even mentioned it. Demoralizing losses for the Boston Bruins in Stanley Cup playoff history. Go all the way back to 1979, Game 7 of a second round series. Or it might have been the series that got them to the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't know. But a lot of controversy in that game. They got robbed in that one. Questionable penalties or something like that.
And don't forget the 2013 Stanley Cup Final, Game 6.
Well, there's others too, Bullock. Let's also not forget the first round in 2009, losing to the Washington Capitals in sudden death overtime. Greatest first round series I ever saw, and I still hold that. And I still hold that to this day. With all the thrillers that series had. 2010, of course, the infamous 3-0 gag job to Philly. We all remember that. And then, of course, 2013, when they had the Chicago Blackhawks down 2-1 in the third period. One of the greatest screaming Michael Fletcher moments of all time. Taze to Bickle. We all remember that. And then the legendary "It's in" when Dave Bolin knocked it in, and Chicago Blackhawks went from possible Game 7 to winning the Stanley Cup in one foul swoop. We all thought, oh, Boston's got it. We're going back to Chicago for a Game 7. But no, that did not happen. But those all pale in comparison. 2019, Game 7 against the St. Louis Blues, losing that game 4-0. Losing a golden opportunity to win the Stanley Cup on home ice, which would have been unbelievable. But unfortunately, I hate to say it, this is now the most demoralizing loss in Boston Bruins playoff history. You make all that history. You set all those records. 65 wins, 135 points. You go into these playoffs as the odds-on favorite to win it all. And we all had them winning. I know I certainly did. I'm sure. Well, Bullock, obviously, because it's his team. Hello. And maybe MF did too. I don't know. But I know I did. And I know Bullock did. So, but boy, howdy. Give it up for the Florida Panthers, man. They wanted it more. Boston made a lot of mistakes. They got too cute. And before I give it to MF, I'll say it like this. One last thing. I said this in our chat, and I'm going to say it too. MF, you agree with me when I said this. Buffalo Bills fans, until they win a Super Bowl, will forever hear 13 seconds. And you know what that's about. You know what those 13 seconds are about.
Yep.
Now Boston Bruins fans are going to hear 1 minute until they win another Stanley Cup. Until they win another cup, they're all going to hear 1 minute. The Gary Thorne to my Bill Clement, the Doc Emmerich to my Eddie Olczyk, good old MF Michael Fletcher. Doc, this was not our series, but if it had been, it would have been the mother of all screaming Michael Fletcher moments.
Absolutely. I don't think there's really much for us to say on this one. This was exactly what we all thought it was going to be. I think going into the series, I think we all were thinking this is too easy. Boston's going to win this, and that they were going to be that this was going to be absolutely what it exactly was going to need it to be. A success, a run, whatever you think it was going to be, this is going to be what we were hoping for. Then all of a sudden, 3-1, and it looks like they're well on their way. As you remember, especially towards the end too, we all thought they were going to win that game 5. You know, here comes Marchand, breakaway, one-on-one against the goalie, and gets stopped. What if that went in? We're talking series over. Over in 5, Bruins move on, and you know what the next word was going to be. Oh my God, they're going to win the Stanley Cup. They're going to dominate the rest of the way and the whole 9 yards. They lose game 5. All right, fine. No problem. No harm, no foul. You go back to Florida. You try to win it there. They lose game 6. Then we hear the switch about the goalie switch. And at first, I'm like, you know what? Swayman was just as good as Olmark. They should be fine. Everything was fine until that 1 minute left. That game-tying goal, I'm like, all right, you know what? Game 7, overtime, it could be a crapshoot. This could go either way. Florida scores, and I even said it I literally said it. Oh my God, did that just happen? That was those were the words that came out of my mouth when that puck went in that net and Florida advanced. Oh my God, did that just happen? It did. I was stunned. The world was stunned. Immediately, social media blowing up. Non-Bruins fans were heckling the daylights out of the Bruins. Absolutely crushing them on social media. It was one of the biggest stunners, the biggest upsets. I think the only other upset that I heard, just in that length or that scale, I think I heard the only other major upset that you got to relate to was actually Detroit losing in the first round to San Jose, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what year that was.
That was, ironically, that was 94.
1994. And everybody was saying that Detroit was the team to beat in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that they were the number 1 seed. They were the top team. And coming out of the West, they were dominant. And they got bounced by San Jose. So, I mean, it happens. Upsets happen, you know, and everything else. Now you're hearing the rumors coming out. Olmark actually got hurt. That's why he could not go game 7. As a matter of fact, he should not even have gone game 6 in that case, because of the fact that he was hurt then, from what we heard. Then, Patrice Bergeron, herniated disc in the back. Remember, now, we were talking to a couple of friends during our birthday little get-together, and somebody, I'm not going to mention any names, and please, guys, don't mention the names, because out of respect, but somebody that we knew came up and said he did not know if Bergeron should have been in that series. And in hindsight, our friend was right. He never should have been out there because he had a freaking herniated disc in the back, and that limited his play. And oddly enough, the minute he was in that lineup in game 5, game 6, game 7, all losses for the Boston Bruins. So I don't know what to even go at that point, because you're thinking back in your mind, oh my God, yes, there were turnovers. Yes, there were mistakes. Montgomery maybe made a lot of errors in his line changes, with his strategy. Why did he put Omar there if he knew he was hurt? Should you have gone with Swayman, who is just as capable of a decision as he was? There's so many questions with this team that you're just wondering, how did this go wrong? If everything went perfect, if everything was great during the regular season, how in the hell did this happen? Florida wanted it more. They were not afraid of the Boston Bruins. They didn't give a damn about the fact that they had the most wins. They didn't give a damn that they had the most points. And they sure as hell didn't give a damn that they were the odds-on favorites for the Stanley Cup. They had that monkey on their back saying, what about us? We were the last team in, but we beat the Bruins during the regular season. We were one of two teams during this entire regular season that gave the Bruins fits. It was them and the Ottawa Senators. And why not us? Nobody gave us a chance. Everybody was doubting us. And they took that momentum and they took that anger and that hostility and everybody. It wasn't just us. It was the prognosticators. It was ESPN. It was TSN, CBC, TNT, NHL Network, and every radio talk company in the world said that the Bruins were going to dominate this series and beat Florida either 4 or 5 games. And you remember that, guys, because we were the same way. We thought that Boston was going to dominate, that they were way good on power play, penalty killing, offensively, the front 9, the back 6, the goaltenders, everything. Special teams, power play, penalty killing, 5-on-5, 4-on-5, whatever's 4-on-4 hockey. Every check mark was on the Bruins side. This, to me, is one of the biggest upsets in hockey history. This is one of the biggest stunners that we've ever seen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And this is why we love the sport, because nothing is forgiven. Nothing is granted. You got to earn your right to the hardest trophy. That's why this freaking Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy to win, because of moments like that. And that's why we got what we got. Now, as far as the Bruins go, maybe this was their best chance to win the Stanley Cup. I don't know. Because now the look that they have is going to be absolutely just incredible to watch. We got to see how they play out. Obviously, there's going to be talk about Montgomery, but I do believe he should be the head coach. But that's the other thing, too. Think about this. About 1 year ago, after Bruce Cassidy got fired, he goes off to the Vegas Golden Knights. But then I had that inside information that I revealed, how he was talking down, that he was down on the rookies and got into fights with Bergeron and Marchand over some of the treatment for the rookies and everything else. Oddly enough, he just took his Vegas Golden Knights. They're playing in the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the Bruins are out. What does that tell you about not only the team, but mainly the organization themselves? Maybe they got rid of the wrong coach. Maybe they should have gotten rid of some guys higher up. and some certain players that don't deserve to wear the Bruins sweater. Just my personal thoughts. Just mine alone. I'm sorry for Boston. I'm sorry for the Bruins fans, because even though I am a New York Ranger fan, and Florio, you know that, and there's always that sibling rivalry between New York and Boston. They're both original six teams. I did not want the Bruins to go out like that. I did not want them to fall on the sword like that. So, yeah, demoralizing is not even the word. Catastrophic was the way that went down. There's really nothing more to add. Anthony, let's go to the Ranger Roundup.
Well, Bullock, you had your hurt. Now it's our turn now. New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils. What a turnaround here. New York Rangers up 2-0 in the series after a pair of 5-1 beatdowns in games 1 and 2. And the way it looked like the New York Rangers were on their way to making this an open and shut series. But the turning point came when Devils coach Lindy Ruff made the decision to replace Vanacek, their traditional goalie, with Akira Schmid. And oh boy, did this turn the series around for the New Jersey Devils. And he made life miserable for the New York Rangers. Game 3, Devils win 2-1 in overtime. Dougie Hamilton, former Bruin. Akira Schmid, in his first game, he had 35 saves in that one. And then in Game 4, Jonas Siegenthaler with a goal and provided an assist for the Devils for a 3-1 win to even the series at 2. And then in Game 5, Eric Howler scored twice and notched an assist while Akira Schmid pitched a shutout for 0. But the New York Rangers finally figured out Akira Schmid in Game 6, exploded for a 5-2 win as Chris Kreider scored a goal and 2 assists. And then we go to Game 7, and we had no score in the first period, but that all changed in the second period. Michael McLeod, his first of the series, 9:53 of the second. Andre Palat with the assist, short-handed goal, 1-0 New Jersey. Tomas Tatar, his first from Marino and Heeshire, 15:39 of the second, 2-0 New Jersey. And then in the third period, Eric Howler, his fourth from Jack Hughes and Andre Palat, 14:27 of the third, 3-0 New Jersey. And then Jesper Bratt put it away with his first assist from Marino, 16:41, 4-0 New Jersey. And that's all she wrote. As the New Jersey Devils defeat the New York Rangers by a final score of 4-0. New Jersey wins the series 4-3. They advance to the second round, and they will now meet the Carolina Hurricanes in what should be a very fun series, no question about it. Shots on goal, 31-24 in favor of the New York Rangers. 31-24 shots on goal for the Rangers. Rangers 0 for 4 on the power play. New Jersey 0 for 3 on the power play. Rangers 23 hits, Devils 18. Rangers 20 blocks, Devils 19. And 3 stars of the game. The number 3 star was Michael McLeod for New Jersey with a goal. Number 2 star was Andre Palat, 2 assists. And the number 1 star, no big surprise, Akira Schmid, 28 saves on 28 shots. His second shutout of the series as the New Jersey Devils come back from 2-0 down to win the series 4-3 and crush the Ranger dreams. And MF and I, you know, last year, the Rangers had that magical run to the Eastern Conference Finals. Unfortunately, they're one and done. Ranger Roundup's one and done, in addition to the Bruins beat. So, Bullock, we feel you. We know how it feels. And, man. First 2 games, I thought, oh, my goodness, this just might be an open and shut series. But that goalie switch, that was the turning point. Lindy Ruff doesn't make that switch, Rangers win the series either in 4 or maybe even 5. No question. But that goalie switch ended up being the difference maker. Jersey got their mojo back. They got their confidence back, and they never looked back. One bad game, but other than that, he pitched 2 shutouts. I know there's not MVPs for each round, but if there was an MVP for this series, Akira Schmidt, hands down, is that MVP. So Jersey moves on. They meet Carolina next. So there isn't much more to say. MF, unbelievable. I mean, last spring, it was the spring of TXN. I mean, our Rangers go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Bullock's Celtics went to the NBA Finals. We had big dreams. But unfortunately, both of those dreams turned into nightmares. And unfortunately, Bull's Corner out after 2 shows. Bruins beat, 1 and done. And now the Ranger Roundup. Who would have thought? 1 and done after that magical year last year.
Yeah, sometimes that happens in sports. You never know how deep the run is going to go, and unfortunately, this ended prematurely for all of us. We did not want this to end as quickly as it did, but unfortunately, it did. At the end of the day, it was a lot of it was shock and awe more than anything else. But you got to give credit where credit's due to New Jersey. They did the 2 things that they did that won the series was, 1, they did a goalie switch, and that was big. But 2, they slammed the door on the New York Rangers when it came to the power play. The power play for New York in the first 2 games, we had 4 goals in 10 opportunities. Then they literally shutted us down. As a matter of fact, I think we had like 21 opportunities and only scored 1 goal in the final 4 games, in the final 5 games of that series. 21 opportunities at power plays, and we only got 1 goal in 5 games. They shutted us down, and then they got hot on the power play. I think they scored like 3 or 4, in the next 5 games after that, after we shutted them out in the power plays. And power play was one of their go-tos because they were like number 4 in the NHL in power plays. And we were shutting them down easily in the first game. They changed their lines a little bit. They gave us different looks. And with a different goalie, we didn't have the same avenues. This is a rookie goalie. This is a guy who played, from the AHL most of the year. Got called up towards the end of the regular season, got a few games in, and then they were like, you know what? Let's put this guy in. He's got the hot hand. We need to do something. Let's change it up. Let's go with this goalie. A goalie that New York did not see all season, and they could not figure him out until Game 6. Game 6, that's when New York finally got back to where they were. Got the power play goal, was more aggressive, and then from there, that was really where we were thinking, oh, we got this. We're the game is spun to our advantage. Well, now here was Game 7. They, everything was going fine. They get the early goal. They get the second. We're like, all right, fine. But what really cost New York was that then they started playing with anger, and they weren't playing clear-headed because there was a penalty that should have been called on New Jersey after Igor got taken out on a play, and Keandre Miller got a penalty for it, for roughing, and then Jacob Trouba unloaded on Timo Meier. And that was the minute that, A, that attitude changed, but B, that also pissed off New Jersey. because a lot of people thought that was a dirty hit, a dirty play by Jacob Trouba. But the thing was, it was perfectly legal. There was no penalty on the New York Rangers for that hit, but they got pissed over that, and that's when they just unleashed. So at the end, look, New Jersey earned it. They deserved it. They were the better team. They played so much better, and they wanted it. So, no, hats off to them for winning the series. There's really nothing more for me to say. New York's just got to get better. We got to work defensively. We got to get stronger on that one. Look, if we keep the core guys, if we keep the Kreiders, Sabinajad, Panarin, Kane, Tarasenko, if we keep those guys, Hedel, Lafreniere, and Capo, that's a good core to have. What we need more muscle on the defensive side. Don't get me wrong. I love Keandre Miller. Jacob Trouba is a great captain for the New York Rangers. I think he'll be great. Barclay Goodrow is a great player. Tyler Mott had an incredible season for the New York Rangers. Underrated in my eyes. But we need some bottom six guys that can really help Igor Shestankin and Yaroslav Halak. I don't think Halak's coming back though. I think we need a new backup goalie. I think we need a backup goaltender. So that's the two I'm thinking. I got really nothing more to say. Oh, I think we lost Bullock for the moment. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours. As I guess we could set up the Bruins beat at least.
Oh, you mean the Celtics chat, really?
Celtics chat. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
We already did the Bruins beat. Yeah, I know we're still devastated. I know, but I had thought when we got Vladimir Tarasenko and Patrick Kane that was gonna tilt it in our favor, but oh boy, were we wrong. So what a difference a series makes. I mean, first two games with the way the Rangers dominated, I thought we had this thing, but oh boy, were we wrong. So there's not much more to say on that. Now we move on to our final order of business for the night, and we will bring Michael Bullock back in for this, the Celtics chat. As we all know, the Boston Celtics knocked off the Atlanta Hawks in the first round, winning in 6 games, and they opened up game 1 of their second round series against their longtime division rival, the Philadelphia 76ers, a renewal of one of the great Eastern Conference playoff rivalries of all time. Both semifinal series can say that. Philly and Boston, we know the history of those two, dating back to the 60s, the 70s, and of course in the 80s. The other side, you also renew one of the great Eastern Conference playoff rivalries of the late 90s and in the early 2000s. The Miami Heat and the New York Knicks. Who can forget the wars those two teams had in the 90s and the 2000s? But this is about the Sixers and the Celtics, and it started last night, game 1, TD Garden in Boston. Series schedule, by the way, and now that the Celtics chat is our only show left because of the Bulls Corner going down after 2 shows, Bruins beat 1 and done, Rangers Roundup 1 and done. Celtics chats we're gonna be having the Celtics chats as there will be crossovers with our wrestling shows as well. So here's the series schedule. Game 1 was last night. Game 2 is tomorrow night. And we will have the Game 2 edition of the Celtics chat that will be hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher as part of Wednesday Night Madness. And then Game 3 will be on Friday night in Philadelphia. And MF will host that as well because that will also be a part of the Cerebral Smack Talk. Game 4 will be on Sunday, also in Philadelphia. And on Sunday, we're going to have a special show here. Not only are we going to have Game 4 of the Celtics chat, that's also going to be our Backlash recap show. So mark that down. Game 5 will be next Tuesday, May 9th, but we're gonna bump that over. Should there be a Game 5, and let's be realistic, I think there will be a Game 5. That will be a part of next Wednesday's Dynamite. I mean, or should I say Wednesday Night Madness. Game 6 will be on Thursday, May 11th, but that will be pushed back to the Cerebral Smack Talk because May 11th, from what I'm hearing, is scheduled to be the NFL schedule release. And if that's the case, you know what that means. It'll be time for our NFL schedule release special, and we'll have more on that soon enough. And then Game 7, if it's needed, Game 7, Mother's Day night. So that's going to be a tough one because I know we're going to have plans with all our moms on that respective day, and rightfully so. But hopefully there'll be enough time to do that. But if not, we could always bump it to the Ridiculously Raw the next night if we have to. But let's get into Game 1. That was last night. James Harden was asked for most of the season to be a facilitator for a Sixer team built around big man Joel Embiid. With the MVP finalist sidelined for the opener of his team's second-round playoff series with the Celtics, Philadelphia called on a vintage version of Harden, and James Harden happily obliged. Harden matched his playoff career high with 45 points and hit a go-ahead step-back three-pointer over Al Horford with 8.7 seconds left as the Philadelphia 76ers rallied without Joel Embiid to beat the Boston Celtics 119-115 in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals last night. Tyrese Maxey added 26 points, and Tobias Harris finished with 18 for the Sixers, who made 17 three-pointers with Embiid watching from the bench. He sprained his right knee in Game 3 of Philadelphia's first-round sweep of the Brooklyn Nets. After the Sixers endured an early scoring onslaught from the Celtics, Doc Rivers said Harden was patient and knew when to attack and when to pass. For the Celtics, Jason Tatum led the Celtics with 39 points and 11 rebounds. Jaylen Brown added 23 points, and Sixth Man of the Year Malcolm Brogdon finished with 20. Game 2 Wednesday night. And Harden previously scored 45 points for the Houston Rockets in a Western Conference Finals win over the Golden State Warriors on May 25th of 2015. Unbelievable. So let's get into the old numbers here. Of course, like I said, it was James Harden who led Philly with 45 and had 6 assists and 2 steals on top of that. Maxey, 26 points, 4 steals of his own. Harris had 18 with 3 assists. Reed, 10 points, 13 rebounds, had 10 points and 13 rebounds. Unbelievable. And then Melton off the bench with 17. Big off the bench for that. For the Celtics, Jason Tatum led the way with 39 and 11 rebounds. Jaylen Brown, 23 with 6 rebounds of his own, 4 assists. Brogdon off the bench, 20 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Solid effort from him. Marcus Smart, 12 points and 7 assists. And that's all she wrote there. And now we go into the big numbers here. Celtics losing despite shooting almost 59% from the field. 59. Philly was 51% from the field. The 3-point shooting, Philly 17 of 38 for almost 45%. Let's see here. Celtics 10 of 26 from 3, about 39%. Philly was a perfect 12 or 12 for the free throw line. Celtics 17 out of 18, so only 1 missed free throw combined. Free throw percentage of 94.4. Each team had 8 offensive rebounds, but the Celtics had 30 defensive rebounds to the Sixers 20. So the Celtics had the rebound edge 38-28. Celtics 26 assists, Sixers had 17. Philly 10 steals. Another difference maker, 10 steals. Boston had 3. Each team had 4 blocks. Sixers only committed 8 turnovers. Celtics committed 16. But the Celtics did outscore the Sixers in the points off turnovers 20-13. Boston had the fast break points 14-10. Points in the paint, Boston 66-42. Wow. 66-42 in points on the paint. Boston only committed 10 fouls. The Sixers committed 20. The Celtics' largest lead was 12. Philly's largest lead was 6. But the Philadelphia 76ers steal game 1 in TD Garden, game 2 tomorrow night. So Michael Bullock, come on back in. Well, good news is the Celtics chat continues on. But unfortunately, the second round gets off to a rough start. Tough luck loss of game 1. Game 2, what do your C's have to do to even this thing up as you head to Philly?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I mean, they need to cut down on the turnovers. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, 60 of them, that's not going to get the job done. And look, they just need more production. I mean, Marcus Smart needs to be more productive. I mean, some other guys on the benches really got to step up too. So, but I did hear some news, guys, regarding Joel Embiid. It looks like he's going to miss game 2 as well. So, who knows? Maybe this could be the chance for them to try to bounce back and even the series before it goes to Philadelphia. But they also, of course, they need to do a better job on James Harden and not be surprised this time around, because he looked like old school James Harden in this game last night. So, yeah, a rough 24 hours for Boston. First with the Bruins losing game 7, and then the Celtics losing game 1. Yeah, that's not good, but they need to step up in game 2 to even the series before it goes to Philadelphia. So that's pretty much all I got to say. So, Florio, it's yours.
MF, any comment?
I think Bullock pretty much summed it up. Look, you got to limit the mistakes. You got to limit the turnovers. And Boston has to be more aggressive. They let Harden go crazy in that game. But not only him, but Tobias Harris had a big game. The role players for Philadelphia came out and played without a doubt their best game. And they got to play better. They got to match that intensity. You do not want to go down 0-2 to Philadelphia and heading to the Philadelphia with that crowd. That might be a too tall of an ask for Philadelphia, for Boston, if they go down 0-2 and got to go to Philly. That might be too much for them to try to handle. So we'll see. This is a crucial game tomorrow night. That's all I'll say about that. So, Floyo, it's yours.
All right. And with that will put the bow on this special edition of TXN Sports World. Our season finales of the Bruins beating Rangers Roundup, and the start of the second round of the Celtics chat. All right. So, MF, I believe you said 10 p.m. tomorrow night for our show tomorrow night. So is that still true, or is it now 10:30?
No, it's still true. Still 10.
Okay. All right. So you heard it. We will next be with you again tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Wednesday Night Madness, this time over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. Wednesday Night Madness is the show. You know how we do it. NXT, AEW Dynamite, and we will have the Game 2 edition of the Celtics chat. MF will have that. And then on Thursday night at 10:30, it is our annual NFL Draft Recap Special. Our team-by-team grades for the NFL Draft. That will be on Thursday night at 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25. And then Friday night, 10:30, MF's channel, Bracebay 95, the Cerebral Smack Talk, AEW Rampage, Friday Night SmackDown, our preview of the Backlash pay-per-view from Puerto Rico, and then we will close that out with the Game 3 edition of the Celtics chat. No show Saturday, and then Sunday night, 10 p.m., over on MF's channel, Bracebay 95, it'll be our recap of Backlash, and it will also serve as the Game 4 edition of the Celtics chat. And then Monday night, we got Ridiculously Raw with me on the Tone 25. Monday Night Raw, where the new era begins. The new rosters take effect on Monday night, and we'll have the first Monday Night Raw, the fallout from Backlash, And then from there, we will also have my Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up as usual. And that's it. So until tomorrow night for Wednesday Night Madness, it's Anthony Floyo here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock. And as always, the first lady of our shows, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Wednesday. And until tomorrow night, for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching this special edition of TXN Sports World, the season finales of the Bruins beating the Rangers Roundup, and the second round Game 1 edition of the Celtics chat right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo. So long. Bye, everybody. Bye.